Hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. So, I have a couple of announcements before I start this. One thing is I've been noticing YouTube is getting kind of weird in terms of talking about WL. Okay. I don't know if they have an issue with if it's being done naturally. I guess if I said that I had surgery or if I was using Ozempic, YouTube would be okay. But there's something going on because they flagged a video literally stating that me saying I had, I have to think of a way to talk about it. I had come from a bigger place and come down to a smaller place. That's basically what they listed as why my past video was flagged, which is crazy to me. So I have seen a couple things on, I know Angelica, she also mentioned this on a post. So I don't know if something's happening, but I've told you guys, fat acceptance is very in the institutions. They've completely lost the culture at this point, but they're in institutions and they are trying to basically censor people, in my opinion. You know, these are people that are hand monitoring, or what is it? Moderating and stuff like that. So I think that it's important to keep that in mind, basically. So I'm going to have to start saying coming from a bigger place to a smaller place. I'm going to have to start saying that from now on. So just be aware of that. I wonder if if they have an issue with it being natural. I think because it breaks that toxic ritualistic logic, and I don't know. I really don't know for sure what's going on, but it's very strange to me. One of you guys, when I did do a post, you said that I may have people who are reporting and things like that. I do know I have a specific person that has been very unhinged lately. Somebody that's on the opposite side of toxic ritualistic, who's still trying to silence me, still feels very threatened by the work that I'm doing, which I find interesting. It also does prove what I've been saying, that toxic ritualistic reinforcement goes across the spectrum. And I think that it's important to recognize that I'm at a point in my activism where I think I'm upsetting people. So I think it's reaching a fever pitch where people are feeling scared, threatened, weird about where I'm at publicly. So I find that interesting, and my message to those people is the following. You will not stop me. I will continue. I will continue to do it. You will continue to see me come from a bigger place and go to a smaller place, video by video by video. Even if I have to word it differently, it doesn't matter. People will still know what I mean. I'm not going to stop. You're not going to stop me. You need to get over your control issues that are very toxic ritualistic, because you're not going to find that here. You're not going to feel satisfied here. It's not going to happen. The only thing you're going to do is give yourself anxiety when you cannot control what I say, think, or reality. You know, you can't control the reality that naturally coming from a big place and going to a smaller place is possible. You're not going to be able to stop that reality no matter what. People know it. I'm going to continue to show it. I do wonder if part of it does have to do with me being mid-size. I'm not even kidding. I think it's a sticking point for people. People get very weird, especially within the toxic ritualistic, because they view this as an extreme shift of identity, shift of privilege, shift of all these things that I'm currently undergoing. And I told you guys I'd be very aggressive about it, especially over the fact that I'm no longer obese. And so I think that there's something going on. So I'm just going to say that if people start hating more and things start shifting from this point forward, I believe that that's why. because I'm getting to the mid of the mids. And what comes after mid is THIN, which is going to be very triggering for a lot of people. So anyways, with that said, let's go ahead and continue here. I had to say that with this wig on. Let's continue.
And even more so, I mean, she and I have a lot in common, but just building these relationships with people within this community that understand that can relate to our lived experiences, but also have their own lived experiences, that we all it just kind of seems like we've built this network of people who truly want to take care of each other.
Yeah.
And it's really cool.
Yeah. So I do want to take like a step back and talk a little bit about Charlotte Plus, just explain it a little bit more.
Yeah.
So
I just have to say, Charlotte Plus, it sounds like a subscription service, something similar to Netflix, and it's really weird to me when they say it. I don't know. I just have to say that. I thought of that last time, but it kind of cringes me out every time they say it.
As someone who's been online and participating in plus size fashion community really for a long, long time, some of my earliest events were in the second to third year that I was doing blogging at the time. I got to go to New York, or not, as Full Figured Fashion Weeks, which was a plus size version of New York Fashion Week, and I met people, and I did get to meet these people. I was having a lot of conversations back on Twitter when Twitter was fun, and we really became friends, right? But it was a distance friendships. I mean, like the people I was closest to, some of the ones I talked to most often lived in California and England.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so all of my relationships were online, and all of them were through texting on Twitter or through going to each other's blog posts and reading and responding and all of that stuff. And then I would go and meet them in person, and some of them lived up to what I thought they were going to be like. And also, I am someone at the time, especially at that time, I was very scared of anything. So like, oh, they're gonna go smoke weed? Danger. Danger. So like, I was a little naive baby, and you know, it was a world that was very new to me, you know, but I really enjoyed it. And then later on, years later, I went to a body positive fat camp put on by Annette from Fat Girls Traveling, and that was the first event I went to that was not fashion related. Mm-hmm. It was, let's go do the blob, let's go do a group yoga class, let's go make friendship bracelets and tie-dye t-shirts, let's sit around the fire and tell our worst sex stories. I mean, like,
I love that.
It was friendship. And at that point, I was developing deeper abilities to talk to women about other things than just, where'd you get those boots? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I found myself, you know, especially as an older person, I think probably later 20s at this point, craving the deepness of that kind of conversation.
See, I'm not trying to be super, super, super shady, but I just find it weird. You know, I guess, is it... I don't know. Even as somebody who's super introverted, I don't know. I've never really struggled with having friends. I've never struggled with having deep conversations with people. This is so bizarre to me to hear, even being super morbid, even having all this stuff going on. I was so, like, even with my toxic ritualistic, like with all of it, it's like I still always had best friends or always had friends or always had things like that. You know, it's like I'm going to Austin to be with friends. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's common to me. As far as like long distance or short distance, I've had both. I don't, obviously, I mean, hello, but I don't know. Is that common? Maybe that's something I just don't understand. But, you know, especially like when you're growing up and everything, you didn't have any friends close to you? I don't know. It's just weird to me. It's weird the way she's describing it.
And so at one point in time, this is pre-pandemic, Annette had written on the Fat Girls Traveling Facebook group, like, hey, put your city below and we'll see if there's any members in there and maybe y'all can meet. And
I love that.
Someone had put Charlotte, and about 5 or 6 of us responded to it. And we all met, and we went to this boutique at the time called Worthy Figures. It's not open anymore, but Worthy Figures is still out on Instagram and such as a person. And we went to the boutique, and then we went to this little, is it called like Moo and Brew? I don't know. We went and had, beers together. And funnily enough, one of the girls works at the same place I worked at. We just had never met before, and she had followed me. So like, this is like the weird little, you're starting to feel like, oh, we are connected in certain ways that we didn't know. And honestly, then COVID happened. And I really realized during that time how much in-person community meant to me, and how much I missed it. And after that is when me and another person created Charlotte Plus. And just saying, hey, we're going to do it. Hey, we're going to put it out online and see who comes. It was shocking to see that people do come.
It's honestly, I'm just going to let them talk, but it is blowing my mind to be this obsessed with having fat friends. It's really crazy to me. Like, I just have to put that out there. I honestly, certainly not from at least 2014, and I was very, very unaware of being in the toxic ritualistic. There's no way after that I ever cared at all what my friends' size were. I just am kind of shocked, and typically I typically connected when I was younger. I just feel like there wasn't a lot of fat people basically when I was younger. I think things have changed, trends have changed. Obesity has skyrocketed throughout the decades. And but as I got older and stuff, it's like, I don't know. I just didn't care. I just don't understand. Because I think I had mostly thin friends when I was younger. But I don't even know. I don't even think I cared then. I was just super introverted. And I feel like most of my friends were extroverted because they'd put the effort in and they'd talk to me and stuff. Because I didn't ever do that when I was younger. So I don't know if that correlated with them being of average size, but it's just weird to me to think about it so much, especially in a friendship context. I can kind of understand it in a romantic context because attraction is involved and things like that. Now, what I don't get is, I have been very clear on my channel about my opinion on the heritability of toxic ritualistic behaviors activated by trauma. So I feel like a lot of people that are fat, they have fat family members. So it's like, is that not quote unquote fat community? I just don't get it. I'm really, really confused by this. I'm so confused by the way they're talking about this.
And it wasn't even people from that initial group from Fat Girls Traveling. Yeah. It was other
because
people.
It can't just, all I'm trying to say is it cannot have to do with just being fat. It has to do with the belief system behind it. It has to. Because there has to be family members or something that just don't agree with them. They don't agree. And that's what they're talking about. That's what I'm trying to put attention on. It's not about even how they look. It's about they have to look like them and believe the same that they do. Otherwise, it's not community. Which that's what I'm talking about when I talk about toxic ritualistic reinforcement. They only want people around them that are going to reinforce what they're doing. That's it. Anybody who has a question, anybody who doesn't like it, anybody who even just acts differently, they wouldn't see that as community. Anybody who goes from a bigger place to a smaller place around them, they're not going to want that around them. They're not going to want to hear it. They're not going to want to see it. That's not community to them. Because the whole community is rooted in the behaviors. That's what it's rooted in. That's what I'm trying to explain, which I feel like most of you understand, even if I have somebody who's a hater who's so caught in their own stuff, they can't see clearly what I'm saying, which is fine. You're blocked, by the way. I don't care to hear what you have to say. But the point is, when you look at this, look at it from what they're actually saying. There's always multiple layers of communication, and I look at the undercurrent of what they're saying. That's what they're saying. Because what is the logic? You don't have any fat people in your life, so you don't have fat community. What does fat community really mean? What does it mean? It's not just about that. It's about the belief system. It's about the behaviors. It's about if somebody continues to do the behaviors. And heaven forbid, somebody recovers. And heaven forbid, someone like me visibly recovers. Because then people even across the spectrum will have something to do about it, or they'll have something to say, or they'll freak out about it. I'm telling you guys, if you want to get out of this, you will have to fight people. You will, at least a little bit. You're going to have boundaries. You're going to have to do that. And it sucks. I think when it comes to family and stuff, I would never be like, just don't talk to your family, Like, no, you obviously have to. You can work to change your family's mind on these things if they're super in it and they're trying to reinforce it with you. But at the end of the day, something like, like if friends are really that bad, you don't have to put up with friends at all. And again, you have to really heavily consider, because this stuff can become life and death. It really can. So it's not something that you can just be like, oh, whatever. It's like, no, you have to have boundaries. You have to. You must.
And I do think, it was easier because I was online and I had a lot of people know who I was because I was doing some modeling for the boutique and all that stuff. So people in the area knew me a little bit, but that group has changed over time. The people who once came maybe don't anymore, and we picked up new people, and you start having regulars. You have the people that are coming often and always, and then you start having people who are interested in helping you. And one of the things I really struggled with, to like do it with another person, because I'm a control freak. And I like things to get done in a certain manner. But I realized quickly, and I knew always that the community wasn't about me, but I realized quickly that the community couldn't just be based on me pulling us together. And I needed to rely on others to pull the community together. And so that's when we started bringing in volunteer organizers. That started last year with the biggest group. Before then it'd kind of be like, hey, can you help, to like random people. And last year was our first group of like official organizers, and the work could be spread out, and it wasn't going to be all on me. And hey, these people love this community so much and love the ability to connect that they are motivated and going to be responsible to do it. And that has been so amazing to see. Like, okay, let's say I ever have to step away, the community exists because it needs to exist, and it will still exist even if I'm not part of it. You know what I mean? And I think that's the great part of community, and really where it should be is that community exists because the people need it and want it, versus
I think in the realest sense, if you actually stepped away, you would you would be excommunicated. You would be canceled if you stepped away, in the sense that I'm talking about, which we've seen this numerous times throughout the fat acceptance community. If somebody changes their tune, then it's a huge problem. And this is why. It's because people, they put their own toxic coping mechanisms onto you. And so if you don't do it, they get very, very viscerally upset and try to control you, try to silence you, try to do these things because they don't like what they're seeing, which I feel like I have shown you guys. It's happening to me on YouTube. It's very real. It comes out of the shadows real quick. And I have to talk about it because this is why you don't see a lot of people start from a very big place and go to a smaller place, certainly naturally, online. Because now I see there is a suppression of it. There's people who try to shut it down. People that, in my opinion, I think that they have those issues. And so they try to suppress it because they don't want to see it, or it gives them anxiety. Isn't that crazy? Because I always knew when I did this that there was going to be something like this at some point. I just didn't know when it would come. I thought it would come at the small fat phase, but it makes sense that it came at the mid-size phase because this is the threatening one. And so it's just interesting to see it play out. But yeah, I'm going where I'm not supposed to go. And I was talking to a friend about it, and I said, if I was very big or if I was in shape, I don't think this would have happened. I think it's because I'm mid-sized. That's what I honestly think. And it's because I think that this specific category, it is so heavily talked shit about in fat acceptance. They hate it. They always talk trash about it. Have you ever seen it? They always do. Always. So I don't think I'm hated in society in general, but I do think within the toxic ritualistic, this phase is very, very threatening to people in that category. And yeah, all I'm trying to do is expose it. So that's why you don't see a lot of people do this online, because they are demoted, algorithmically demonetized, or limited ads, that type of thing, or the video is actively taken down, like what happened in March. So I think it's important to understand that there is definitely, y'all got me to say it, there's a systemic issue going on. That's a system. They don't want this to be seen for some reason. But I don't think it's a grand conspiracy. I think it has to do with specific people's anxieties, which I wonder who would choose to moderate toxic ritualistic content. Do you think it would be somebody that has that problem? Because I do. So I hope I'm exposing the problem for you guys more.
One person pushing for it to happen.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's been fun to see the community shift because now more people's interests come in, what kind of activities they like to do. Even now, one of the things we've talked about is we want more informal ways. How can we say,
I said many times, there is nothing that people within it hate more than somebody who recovers. They hate it. And like I said, especially if you visibly recover, they hate it. Hell hath no fury. Because when it comes to me, they can't make those excuses. So, I'm just saying. I know it's pretty mid-sized princessy, but that's why I'm wearing the wig.
Go try a new restaurant without it being an event.
Yeah.
Because there are people that have been coming so long, they're making friends. Maybe they don't want to socialize with 20 people. We very rarely have 20 people, but they want someone to go to a restaurant with. So we're talking again, how can we do it more informally? So it doesn't have to be an event, and it doesn't have to be coming from an organizer. Yes, we'll have Charlotte Plus events, but you can say, hey, I saw this coffee shop, let's go. And people can say, yeah, I want to go.
Yeah, that was something that we talked about at our Christmas party. I know Alyssa got a very much deserved night off with Billy that night, so Alyssa didn't get to come. But we wound up talking about that at the Christmas party, where I know that we started our Facebook group with Charlotte Plus, and that was kind of what that was intended for, but it hasn't really taken off that way.
Yeah.
But the idea really is, and again, this came from me staying with Michelle too. I have these collections on Instagram, right? Of I've saved all of these places in Charlotte that I want to go to. I've saved all these places in Chicago, all these places in New Jersey for the next time I go to New Jersey, like all these different places I want to go to, right? But they're just living in there, right? And then I go and stay with Michelle for 2 weeks, and I've hit 5 of these places on my list because she's just like, oh, you want to go? Let's go, right? And it was really cool for me to have someone like that, who was like, yeah, absolutely, let's fucking go, right? And so that kind of made us think, you know what? That's what we really need. That's what we really need, is just to be able to have like some sort of group chat where somebody can say, hey, I'm just bored tonight. I want to go grab dinner with one of my fat babes. Who's up for it, you know? Or yeah, a new restaurant opened. I really want to go check it out.
See how it's always about food? I'm sorry. I have to call it out. There's a reason I'm covering this. Do you see? Do you see? Why wouldn't you want to go on a hike or something? Why wouldn't you want to go shopping? That would kind of make sense, going shopping together. Right? Why wouldn't that come up as something to do?
To go without it being a let's coordinate times.
1 second. I need my wand. Okay. One second. I forgot the headphones. Okay, so part of the mids is breaking all of this down. It's breaking all of this down, all of this need to relate to people using size. That's what if you could do it before, that's great. If you get to the mids and you haven't done it, you gotta do it. You gotta do it now because they're gonna come for you. I just have to be real. I have to be so real. Lisa, I like mentioning her. It's fun because she does YouTube too, okay? So I'm gonna keep name dropping Lisa. But she told me, she's like, when we're in Austin, that'll be hopefully the last time I'm your fat friend. So you better, you gotta use it then, because I'll probably be mid, or I'll hopefully be mid by the end of the year. And I basically, to me, it's like, I just laughed at it, but it's like, no, Lisa's my friend, period. There's no descriptor. There's nothing else. That's ridiculous. Guess what? I'm going to Austin with Lisa and Eric. We have a lot of activities planned. Some of them involve restaurants, but that's maybe 20%. Most of it has nothing to do with it. This isn't community. This isn't living experiences. That's not what that is. Remember, food is just one thing in a pile of other experiences. And guess what? If I don't want to eat at a particular restaurant because I'm keeping my deficit in mind, my friends aren't going to care because our friendship isn't rooted in that. Really look at these issues if you have this in your life. Because I can assure you, you're not going to survive the mids. You're not going to get through the mids if you have people like this. They're going to do everything in their power to sabotage you.
And who can be here, who can't, and everything like that. And I think that's a really great idea, because I think ultimately the idea behind community, right, is yes, having, as many people that want to be involved as possible, but also creating those deeper connections within community as well, which I think should be.
They keep saying that, but all they're talking about is external appearances and food. That's superficial. And just talking. Like, sure, talking is great, but what about doing things? What about it?
Part of it should be encouraged. to be able to, you know, to meet new people and build new friendships and find those people that you can wind up on any given day. Be like, hey, want to go grab coffee at Backyard Brew, which is a brand new coffee place that I found out about through Michelle. And you go get a coffee and they give you a little tiny little duck, and it's so cute, and they have different colors, and I love it. You would love it. You would love it with your little tiny. You love a little tree. You know.
Looking for outerwear that fits like it was made just for you? Snow Country Outerwear has you covered. Literally.
It's all about...
With designs that prioritize plus-size comfort and style, you'll find jackets, bibs,
One thing.
pants, and more that don't just fit, but fit well.
One thing.
Say goodbye to oversized boxy cuts and hello to quality customizable pieces made to handle the elements. Whether you're hitting the slopes or heading to brunch,
I just have to let this play because I know it bugs some of you guys.
Shop now and find outerwear that truly works for your body.
Yeah, I do think being the person who like is kind of the face or like is known as the founder of it, it comes with a lot of good, and it comes with some things that are harder, right? Like I think one of the things that creating community asks of us is to consider other people's needs, you know, first and foremost. And like you mentioned, that's thinking about their physical needs and is it accessible? Are we having events on different areas of the city so people can get to them? But also, this is for adults, you know, and adults come in and want to be welcomed in different ways. And like, I am not the most outgoing. I am also a teacher. So one of the things I tell them is like, I go into teacher mode when we have an event. I feel like my job is hosting. So sometimes I don't get to sit back and connect because my job is to make sure others are connecting and others are doing those things. And especially when the group is big or there's a lot of new people or, you know, there's just no way to hide the fact that if someone's been coming...
I just cannot get over what this is all based around. I just can't. It's like, I don't think there's anything wrong with having community or something, but it's like, shouldn't it be based around something? Even if it's like something religious, even something like Comic-Con or just like a fandom. Something. It's like you're basing it around... Are you serious? Are you serious? What? I just can't believe this.
An event for 2 years, they know some people better than they know a new person, right? Sure. And I think that gets the harder part of communities. So one of the things I think...
One of you guys shared a comment from the Anna O'Brien Reddit that was speaking kind of positively about me. And they were commenting on like how I talk about the delusional aspects behind it, the mental health issues, how you basically have to gaslight yourself constantly, especially being at such a big place. And this is how. I mean, I'm just saying, like, think of how much work is going into this. Do you know how much harder it is to have to meet people through that than just connecting by various different means? Like common interests. That's a lot of work. You can just go out in public and meet somebody. You can meet somebody at work. You can meet somebody through work. Like I've talked with people through YouTube, for example. I've connected with people. By the way, thank you so much, Tiny Blue Anthropologist, for the shout out. I so appreciate it. So do. People, but you see, I don't have, like we, in Anti-FA, those that I have connected with, it's been through that shared work or that shared view or that shared purpose. It's not about eating and how we look. Do you see the difference? I hope I'm making the difference very clear to you guys. I hope I'm making it clear what is going on.
Is important for us to consider and important for listeners to consider as they might want to be part of online communities or in-person communities is like the idea that community spaces exist for connection and engagement, right? And connection and engagement leads to relationships. But they don't magically happen. Like, they really do. It takes, having similar interests. It takes having similar life availabilities, like
Which,
being able to say,
being fat, it's not going to have anything to do with that.
like, right now, I think the people who mostly come to all events are either single women.
Other than eating, which apparently is all they do. That's what it sounds like. I keep trying to hear, what are these conversations? You have these deep conversations. It's like, okay, but how many of them revolve around continuing something? I would say probably at least 80%. That's the whole reason you came.
Or women who don't live with their partner. And I think that's because we have perhaps more availability to our schedule. Like, we're saying, listen, the only person I need to answer my calendar to is myself, like.
My boyfriend lives in Chicago.
Right. So, like, it is the people who want to come, who have significant others, who have children, like, I do find it much harder for them to make it out, and it means they get less time to connect,
Sure.
And all of that stuff is tough to account for and try to make space for, because everyone just has so many different needs.
I nodded to it before, but I truly think the magical part about
Also, I have to say, you guys were commenting on her jeans. I didn't even notice. I didn't even notice. Now I do. Now I can't not notice. So, thanks, guys.
a community that you feel represented in is through learning and connecting with others. And
I'm not living up to the fashionista mid-sized girly pop moment, am I? I'm really not. I let y'all down. I did. I let you down. I really, really, really did. I'm sorry. I'm working on it. I have some booty shorts. I told you I'm trying.
I think the most valuable things that I've taken
Oh my
away-
gosh. And remember, that red sweater, I was approached in person by like a 20-year-old girl, and she was like, oh my God, where'd you get it? I love it. So I have some cred. I even have some street cred with fashionista-ness, but I still let y'all down. I did. I let you down. I really, really did. And I'm sorry. So, but like I said, now I can't unsee it. So also, why? Why did you have to tell me? No, I'm just kidding.
From CLT Plus, besides its relationships, is self-advocacy and learning how to, communicate your needs in a space so that you're comfortable, and what
Examples, please?
environment I do want to put myself in versus I don't want to put myself.
It's reinforcement. I'm telling you, it is. Plain as day. So it's like how to fight with your doctor about the real health implications of what's going on. How to avoid people who disagree with what you're doing. Just because I can get on here and I can talk about the stark realities of what it is, I just can't even imagine. All I can tell you guys is, if something like this was around and I was like 20 years old, I don't know if I would have ever gotten out. I might have gotten sucked into this and I might be dead. So all I can say is, be wary if you have somebody in your life who is getting sucked up into something like this. I would at least try to say something to the best of your ability, because all I can tell you is this isn't like a happy, fun time, kumbaya circle. It can look like that on the surface, but that's not what it actually is. So just, if I knew somebody that was near and dear to me and they were going to something like this, I would be very concerned. I'm just telling you that. Obviously, you can't control what anybody does, but you can say something. You can try. You can try to say something. This is not healthy. It just isn't. It's ugh.
Myself in and things like that. And I think that's been, I don't know, most impactful for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since of the three of us, you were the newest member of Charlotte Plus, which she's one of the organizers for the last year. So like, it's not like you're
very kind saying that because I'm one of the organizers, but I'm the D list. They put me in when there's no one else to put in.
We use her house.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And that's okay.
Very graciously. I mean, we're very appreciative of Alyssa letting us use her space.
But I wonder, okay, because one of the themes that had come up in our last episode is how, as a child, you did not have very many friends.
Yeah.
As an adult, right in this moment, you have multiple close friends.
That's so true because I did invite some CLT Plus friends to my birthday party.
Yes.
And they came.
Yeah, no, I actually had a birthday party because I had people to invite to my birthday.
So
I love that.
Yeah, I'm wondering too if this is like also extreme introvert cringe. Like I'm getting introvert cringe vibes from this. Like I don't know. But even for me, like I said, I'm super introverted. I did have friends. So I don't know. I'm so interested. And I wonder why that happened with them. I do. I don't know.
and girl will make up for lost time. Okay.
Hell yeah, we will.
I mean, for that, I could just be lucky, honestly. You know, I could be. So I'm going to just take that as that. It could just be that I was lucky because I was very introverted. So it was not like I made it happen with friends. You know what I'm saying? I really didn't. So I don't know.
I do wonder, like, what was it like for you going in that space and making friends as someone who maybe has struggled to make friends in the past or be accepted? Like, what was it like? Did it feel different for you? Did it feel easier?
Well, I think the point in time in my life, I found CLT Plus directly from residential treatment. Mm-hmm. So I was still actively in recovery. I was still going to Renfrew every single day. Mm-hmm. I was in the partial hospitalization program. So, like, I was surrounded by an eating disorder community all day. And what was really nice was to be able to go and connect with people and not be triggered.
Yeah.
And, gosh, I feel like I judged people for saying that.
I mean, she said it all, didn't she? Is that enough proof to my one hater? Is that enough proof? Did she not just say it blatantly? I'm not going to repeat it. You guys can rewind it and hear it again. Is that not exactly what I'm saying? Tell me I'm wrong again. Go ahead. I get it. I'm mid. I'm wrong about everything, apparently. Tell me I'm wrong. She just said it. It's not anything. I told you guys, and I said that to that person. I said, look, I didn't say that to that person. I didn't say that to anybody. Sorry, I had an introvert cringe moment. I just thought it. But I'm going to say it now. The things that I know about this, it's not anything special to know. It's somebody who's had experience. Anybody who's had experience of it, especially at a severe level, you know exactly what this is. You may deny it. You may not want to look at it. You may not want to see it. But it doesn't matter. You still know. You know. You know. But in case you didn't know, she said it blatantly.
Being like triggered, you get triggered. And I'm like, but like, yeah, having to sit through a conversation with someone who's like actively talking about weight loss or diet culture, in a way that's like what, like they're praising it, mm-hmm. is triggering. I mean, I think it's triggering in general. I think you just can relate to it more when, I don't know, when you're like, how harmful was this, you know? Yeah. But
Reinforcement. Say it with me. Reinforcement. I get to be smug. I get to be a smug chapel. I told you. Did I not tell you exactly what this group is? Did I not tell you? I told you.
It was nice to go to an event with fat people, and like, while we could talk about our lived experiences, we also didn't have to, and it was just like a mutual understanding a little bit about like landmines, right? Being like, we're not even going to talk about that because like
we're not going to question our coping mechanisms at all because that would cause anxiety. Let me translate it for you.
why would we want to? Yeah. You know, my first event I went to was us at a Christmas market.
Yeah.
And I literally just like got a drink and I think a pretzel.
Yeah, that place had the good pretzels.
Yeah, I got like a hot chocolate and a pretzel, and I sat down and I said, I'm good. Like, this was good. I sat there and I listened to conversation more than I spoke, and I think it was just because, one of the things that my therapist was telling me, I was getting so burnt out of talk therapy.
Yeah.
Talking and talking. She's like, you just need to go and listen to your community.
Yeah.
Let them do the processing. You can just listen and be along for the ride. And God, did I just sit there and listen to everyone talk about fashion and I don't know what's going on in their lives. And I was like, damn, this is nice.
Well, I think too, if I remember correctly, from some of those earlier events, I think just listening to the way that we talked about food too.
Yeah.
And the conversation.
This is like really obvious. Come on. I told you.
That we were having around food was just about, you know, how we enjoyed food. You okay?
Yeah,
I'm feeling so smug. I may unblock that hater just so she can try to talk some BS in these comments. I just might. I'm feeling so smug. It's making me feel charitable today. I want to see this person try to explain this. Which the reason I blocked is because it was somebody who they're just trying to basically just tear me down, which again, this is not a personal channel. I'm not interested in your takes on me as a person. I'm just not. I don't know if that's not clear. It should be clear. But I don't care about that. You know, I'm here to talk about things. Like, I've had people disagree with me on certain things, and I would never block somebody if we're like talking about the topic at hand or that kind of thing. But it's like when it gets overly personal, I'm not going to deal with it necessarily. I'm just not. Because it's too much of a distraction. And this is not a personal channel. So, anyways, let's continue. I just want that to be clear because I don't want you guys to think that I'm like crazy or just like going nuts or whatever. It's not like that. But if it is overly personal or too off topic, you may get blocked. You may. I may warn you, I may not. But it depends on the situation. But again, call me Chapel. Those are my boundaries. It needs to be on topic and it needs to actually not be personal and weird. So, yeah.
Emotional.
Yeah. I mean, that we were, because that was a big thing for me, right? Was what? What's happening? Are you getting emotional?
No, I just had a laugh and I'm sorry. I am so now used to you tearing up and stuff that like I didn't have any reaction to you tearing up. And I was like, I am fucked for that.
Like, I'm a robot.
So
No.
Sorry.
Desensitized. No.
I haven't cried on the podcast in a minute.
No, wait till this afternoon.
No,
No.
I know, but like, it's...
Lisa's watching one on her channel and it's wild. They brought up the Taylor Swift incident and I loved it. Lisa was dying. She was dying. It was killing her. And to me, it was just so... They were literally just talking about clothing sizes and stuff. And the one girl, she started crying. And it's just like... I need you guys to understand, this podcast, it is so blatant. You know, very, 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 very severe. So even people that do have this stuff, it's usually not that severe. I don't even think I ever got to that level. And I was pretty bad. But that's a whole other level to start crying talking about clothing sizes. I think I would feel nervous. But for me, I think it's so bizarre to me because it was so private in my experience. And so for them to put it all out there, like so much, it's shocking to me. It shocks me a little bit. But, you know, I guess it's a new day, a new age, you know. I appreciate it because it's a really good teachable moment, you know. But it's pretty obvious. It's very obvious. So that's all I can say.
Been a minute since I've had some tears on an episode.
No, but I think it was just, and I know I've said this before, but similar for me, you know, in finding Charlotte Plus and finding Fat Community was being able to talk about things that I'd never been able to talk about before in not a negative way, right? Be able to talk about food in not a diet culture way, right? And be able to talk about food and like, oh my God, I fucking love sushi and not.
I've always been able to do that. I don't know. Okay. I mean, like I said, to me, that's giving a little bit of introvert cringe. I don't know. Maybe you just didn't talk to enough people. I think every friend I've had, we've talked about food in a non-diet culture way. I don't know. I just am not understanding that.
Well, I eat sushi sometimes because it's better for me than this, right? And being able to, you know, my first event was at Optimist Hall, right? Mm-hmm. Being able to go to Optimist Hall and actually get what I want instead of being surrounded by people who I'm wondering if I'm going to be judged based on what I order, right?
I know, but that's in your head. I mean, if somebody's blatant and just says it outright, okay, sure. But like I said, that could still be, it's kind of bizarre to be really, really concerned about specifically within a meal what somebody else is eating. I don't think it's a big deal or uncommon or weird to be concerned about the whole picture of what somebody else is doing. Obviously, that makes sense, right? But if somebody's extremely concerned over you going out to eat and you are doing something and they're like really, really, really upset about it, I feel like that's bizarre. I think there can be maybe some exceptions with health conditions and things like that. Maybe there, sure. But in general, I would think that was kind of weird. Because it's not like the one meal is going to determine if somebody's fat or not. So it's just bizarre. I just don't think that's a good strategy at all. And I think it's kind of bizarre.
Able to be around, honestly, a bunch of fucking foodies because it's like, it's socially acceptable to be a foodie.
Reinforcement.
Foodie as long as you don't look like me, right? And it's like, no.
Reinforcement.
I'm a foodie. I appreciate food. I love food. And so being able to be around a group of people who look like me and also appreciate and love food the way I do.
Is it not blatant? Is it not reinforcement? Tell me it isn't. Tell me I'm wrong again. Go ahead and tell me again.
Was so healing for me.
There was no shame.
Yes, there was no shame.
I think that's really like the word is like you were able to go out.
Anxiety. That's the word we're going to use. There was no anxiety because there's no challenge. There's no reality being faced. There's nothing. That's why. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop it here. We're going to continue. I'm going to do one more of this. next week. But thank you guys so much for watching. I will talk to you guys again next week. This week was crazy. If you didn't see my video that I did yesterday, YouTube did make it 18 plus, so just make sure you're logged in and check it out if you're interested in the mids and some of the frustration behind it. And with that, I will go ahead and leave. Have a good rest of your day, night, etc. I will see you guys another day. Peace.